Hi, I'm Chef Daryl Shular here at the Shular Institute, and I'm with the director of the Hospitality Education Foundation of Georgia and ProStart, Chef Simone, Byron. Chef Simone, thank you for being here with me.
Thank you for having me, Chef.
So this partnership that we have is all about educating students.
Yes, sir.
That's a passion I have. It's a passion I saw when I met you back in culinary school.
Yes, sir.
So tell me a little bit more about the program and the future goals that you have in place.
Hospitality Education Foundation of Georgia is geared to in increasing the education and engagement in the hospitality industry through great people like yourself. We want to show the different facets of hospitality, different things you can get involved in, different ways you can educate yourself to progress your career in hospitality. So great demos like this and expertise from our leading chefs in Atlanta is just a great way to get young adults engaged in the industry.
Right. So let's talk about the time that we're in right now. It's so much
Yes.
uncertainty about the hospitality industry, but we do know that we will go back to a norm. But what does that norm look like? What we're trying to do, and help me if I'm wrong, is to continue to show the students that this is a valuable career path to take.
Always a viable career path. It's one thing about hospitality and cooking is the creativity. Times are always going to change. There's going to be crises. There'll be crises after this COVID crisis. How do you respond to it? How do you take your talent? How do you take the industry and make it work for you? So it's just important to stay positive, to know that everybody will always need to eat. There will always be a place for hospitality. And how do you get in front of crises like this to be as productive as you can,
Right.
at home and at work?
That's beautiful. And so this time that we have, this hibernation, this quarantine that we
Right.
have, this is the time where we want all young culinarians to
Exactly.
do what? Exercise their skills. And that's the reason why we're doing these videos.
Yes.
It's to show that they can take simple things at home where you're not sending mom out there to break the budget because
Right.
everyone is tight right now. Everyone is in survival mode. But they can go into the kitchen and contribute by exercising some of the fundamentals they've learned in school, right?
Absolutely. And just cross utilization of product. There's so many things in your cabinet, in your refrigerator that you can do some creative dishes with, things to do to feed your entire family, just to give you some more ideas. It's hard being in the house. You lose your creativity, you lose some of your energy. So we're just going to try to give that back to you, and hopefully you can take some of the things that you learned today during this demo and bring it back and do your own dish.
That's right.
This is just the basis of a chance for you to build your creativity.
That's beautiful. And what's really special about this brings me back to my roots because I remember my mother, she didn't have much. And so we had to just go into the cooler and use what we had to make great dishes. And that's
Exactly.
why we're here today. So
Exactly.
what I did was I tried to pull some things from previous dishes that we've made. And so we just did a presentation on a nice sandwich with the chicken there. And so what we want to do is show that we can take the leftover chicken and utilize it for maybe a dinner application or for lunch the next day. So
Right.
what we have and what we're going to do is do a nice little noodle bowl. Okay. Very similar to ramen. So
Okay.
kids know about that, right?
They know about ramen.
So we're
Big
going to do
time.
something a little similar to that, but a little bit more of a healthier note to it, okay?
Absolutely.
So what we're going to do first is just go ahead and let's get this pan going right now, Chef. And as we go through, if you have any questions, just chime on in because we really
Absolutely.
want this to be engaging. We want our
Absolutely.
students who's viewing this video to engage in our next session. And our next session is going to be a live feed to where they can call in, they can text in whatever questions they may have.
They'll love
and we're going to do our best to kind of, engage with them to show that even chefs like myself are still working on our skills even during this dark time. So
Absolutely.
we're going to have a lot of fun with this. So the pan is really hot there. We're going to get it going. So one of the things I taught students in school over the years is whenever you're heating up a pan, you always got to look at the chemistry here, okay? Because the metal, there's a reaction that goes on there, right?
Right.
So if the pan is cold, it's going to have a high-pitched ting to it, right? Very high pitched because the metal isn't vibrating fast enough, right? The heat causes it to vibrate. But
Okay.
if it's nice and hot, that vibration is going to be strong, and you're going to have a deep thud sound, okay? So students, while you're at home and you're cooking and you want to make sure that the pan is nice and hot without burning down the house, listen to the sound. Listen to whether it's a high pitch. If it's a high pitch, that's no. But if it's low, kind of like this voice of mine, then you're in a good place and you want to go ahead and then add your oil, okay? What we're using here is an olive oil, extra virgin. I like blends sometimes too, but
Okay.
for a dish like this that's really quick, I love a extra virgin olive oil. Do you work with the extra virgin olive oil too, right?
Yeah, we do. And, you know, just depending on what you're cooking, in particular type of cuisine. You know, and there's a smoke point too with the different types of oil too, right?
That's right. It has a really nice high smoke point, but because it's a extra virgin, it has a little level of acidity in it, meaning that it has a little bit of the pulp from the olive in there, which is the reason why they're kept in the dark bottles, because the sunlight would cause it to go rancid. So, and plus because we're cooking it and we're just kind of bringing the flavors out a little bit, we really don't need to have that really high smoke point there. Okay. Now, if you're looking at a really hard sear, then I would suggest possibly going with a blend.
A blend.
Okay. All right. So let's go with let's get our garlic here. You just want to do some thin slices with this, okay? Really thin. And a lot of times you think about mincing the garlic, okay? I love mincing the garlic, but the best way really to mince garlic is with a mortar. Because you want to capture the oils, you want to capture the acidity, you really want that flavor of the garlic there, okay? Now, because of the flavor of the garlic, timing is really important, okay? Now, if I'm serving like something fresh, then I want to add that garlic in towards the end because I want that acidity. But in an application like this, where I want everything to marry together, we want to add that in there now. So let's go ahead and let's throw the garlic in there. Let's get a little sweat. And we'll infuse that oil, okay?
Chef, when you say sweat, what do you mean? Are you just talking about the temperature that you're cooking?
Exactly. Sweating is just the release of the water content, whether it's sweating the onion, garlic, you just want to release the water content. You're not looking for any caramelization. And so you don't want the temperature to go too high to where you start to caramelize the natural sugars that's inside the, you know, the vegetable there, okay? So we just want to infuse that oil there, okay? Really nice, and you can see that starting to slightly brown a little bit, which is fine, okay? That's the reason why we go a little heavy on the oil. And now I want to go with the onion. So we have a red onion left over from earlier. So why not, huh?
Why not? Utilize it.
Absolutely. You know, I remember growing up, you know, we would have pretty much just one thing for dinner. You know, it would just be beans. It would just be okra. And then on the weekends, we would have, you know, our protein, which would be like chicken, but it would be the necks and backs.
Oh,
You know, it wouldn't be the legs and thighs.
You got to make it work.
I didn't have a leg and thigh until I went to culinary school.
Wow.
So,
that's interesting.
you know, this time that we're in, I know it's a shock to some, but it's a reality to others. It's what they live every day. Okay, so we got that nice color going on. You can smell the aroma. You can smell the nuttiness from the garlic there. Okay. So we'll turn that temperature down slightly.
Any trick, Chef, about keeping from tearing up when you're doing those onions?
Go fast.
Go fast. All
Well,
right.
the thing is, because you're inhaling it through your nose, it's getting into your passages, and that acidity is in your nose there. So a lot of times people leave their onions out at room temp, and that's where you get that acidic burn there. But if you put them in the refrigerator or soak them in some cold water, you'll find yourself not having any problems with that. Okay. Now we just want to add a little corn to it.
Is that choux corn?
Just a little white corn I found at the market. Something simple. You know, you can use a golden corn, whatever you want. You can throw peas in here. If you're going to put a pea in there, I will wait later to put that in there. The corn, because I want that sweetness to come out. I want that combination of acidity and sweetness to really blend well together. Okay.
Sounds like something that could be maybe in the freezer that they can use.
That's the idea. Is to just look in the freezer.
Yeah.
Just go in there and pull out things from the can. You know, I know we always talk about fresh, and that's the idea. But some people just got cans. Some people just got, you know, a bag in the freezer. So we want to show that it's nothing wrong with taking those ingredients and creating something special for the family. Okay. We're in survival mode now, so there's no need to be a little arrogant with it. So now we're just going to add a little stock. Now, if you don't have stock, maybe you just want to add just like a little water to it, and just let the flavor of the onions and everything else just kind of develop a deep flavor for you. Okay. So you want that to just kind of simmer there. Okay. And what's really nice is that we develop a nice base with the caramelization of the garlic and the sweating of the onions. It releases some of that water. The water releases the acid, and what you have left is what? The sweetness. And that's what people really enjoy. The sweetness is what's left there, okay?
Okay.
All right. So we can throw in, once that come up to a nice simmer, we're going to throw in some of these beans here that I have. Okay. Now, if you don't have beans, you can pull out frozen peas, whatever you want. We're going to add in some baby kale in here in a second. Anything that's going to add vegetables, okay? Because in this day and time, we need what? Substance. We need the nutrients to fight off the things that's going on right now. And so instead of going to buy medicine, why don't we just try to eat good as much as possible, okay? So, Chef, you work with a lot of students. Tell me a little bit about the students that you work with, especially at your program at Meadow Creek High School, I believe?
Yep. I just recently transitioned out of Meadow Creek, but this great group of kids, talented kids, excited kids that want to be a part of the industry. It's truly a pleasure to be on this side of it, where I can go around and kind of travel around and meet, go to different neighborhoods, different schools. You meet different cultures of kids. It's truly inspiring just to see how many different communities are interested in culinary arts. It just lets you know how much work we have to do out here.
That's
how
beautiful.
much we need institutions like the Shular Institute to be able to embrace these students as they come out of their schools looking for somewhere to learn and grow. So it's really been a pleasure to meet so many new students.
And I love that we have an opportunity to get in front of these students while they're in high school, because that's where my career started. Was someone came into my home ec class and they introduced themselves as the executive chef of the Marriott down in Orlando, and I saw the chef for the first time, and I'm like, wow, that's what I want to do. And then it just inspired me to now, So getting them early, because this is a young man's industry, really, especially when you're grinding it hard. So to come out the industry, get into the industry young is really important.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so now I have some beans here. Just want to add some beans in there. Okay.
What kind of those, Chef?
So these right here, just some little white navy beans there. Really, you can do any type of bean that you want. And the reason why I like that is because there's times where I need to clean out the fridge. A lot of good food in there.
Yeah.
Don't want to go to waste.
Right.
What do I do with it? Create something special. Okay. And these are the memories that we take for a lifetime. I still remember my mom doing something like this.
Wow.
Okay. So we add the beans in there. We're gonna let that simmer over nice medium-high heat, and you can just see all the action coming up with the smoke coming there, the simmering, the atmosphere there is really, really nice. You can smell the aroma. That's what we're looking for there. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, Chef. So, Chef, with the ProStart program, tell me a little bit more about the format and why that competitive environment is so important for a young culinarian.
ProStart gives students an opportunity to compete on the state and then national level every year. As being a competition coach for the last 8 years, I've seen students grow an immense amount of self-confidence, in dedication, in focus, which are just like the pillars of becoming an awesome hospitalian. I think the program is so wonderful because it really gives them a chance to become a part of a team. They're learning organization. They do everything from cost control and purchasing to plate design. All of those things are different careers that you can take up in the hospitality industry. So to get a chance to touch on everything. So it's not just a culinary competition, it's also the business management competition where students are building restaurant concepts from the ground up. They're learning everything from marketing to menu design to cooking techniques to floor design, floor plans. And it's all encompassing. It's an excellent program to be involved in, and they get to work with great chefs, mentors from around the city. So it gives them a chance to network and to make some connections for when they graduate.
Now, if I'm correct, one term on the ProStart competition team is equivalent to 2 years industry experience.
It is.
Right.
It is.
And that's so important for young culinarians out there who decided to go into this industry to look at that format as a heads up or step forward into the industry, because I spent the majority of my career doing competitions from individual to the team on the U.S. Olympic team. And then, of course, that gave me the stepping stone I needed to become a CMC. So that competitive nature, that quick thinking, that agility that you have in the kitchen, that thinking on your feet is so important for a young culinarian.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Would you say that competitions is helped you to progress in your career? Has that been the basis for you? Would you encourage?
Absolutely. That was the deal maker for my career.
Wow.
Is working with new people every so often, new environments, new judges, new ingredients, new situations, butane burner, stove, traveling, logistics, late night, family, work. It's all a beautiful vinaigrette blended together. And so if you can adapt in those environments, as you progress, you're going to see different environments, you're going to be more prepared for that. So I think, and I really encourage students to really get into the field of competitive cooking as much as possible, because cooking is a sport. And the more you know how to adapt on a dime in a competitive way, is really going to give you a heads up in the industry. So as we're making this, it's a great conversation that we're having. As we have going on here, we have the carrots added in, okay? And then now I want to add in some of my beans here, okay? And if you can see here, you get all the color going on there, okay? Now we don't want to cook this so much to where we lose all that beautiful color, okay? So we want to bring it up quickly to a nice boil, okay? Then we're going to add the remaining of our ingredients in here, and this will be ready to go. Okay.
Chef, I like how you're talking about when you're adding things into the pot. Some things need less of a cooking time.
Right.
Some things need to kind of be in there to create the flavor. So if somebody did not have those fresh beans, when would you add something like a canned or a frozen vegetable, like during this time as well?
I would still add it at the end because it's already somewhat cooked, because
Okay.
it's been sitting in a brine, a solution for quite a while. So there's no need to add it in the beginning part of it, okay? Especially if I'm doing like a nice tomato sauce. I'll cook my tomatoes maybe like a couple of hours before I start to add in my herbs.
Right.
I use fresh herbs at the very last minute.
Okay.
And then
So
you
it's
get
right.
that around. Absolutely.
Okay.
So now I want to add in a little jalapeno, and I just want to do some thin slices.
So you're using jalapeno as a spicier version, or like if you wanted to go a little spicier, what other type of pepper would you use?
If you really want that heat, you can go with the red. Go with the
Okay.
more colorful peppers. That's where you're going to get that really deep, rich,
So
spice.
red is hotter.
Yes, the more brighter the color, the more potent the spice is. I think jalapeno is like a level 1 to where you can handle that. But just a little bit to really bring out that flavor. It's a southern thing. I'm a southern guy, so I like a little heat. And plus my family, they love spices. So I'm always having to add like chili peppers.
Had to hook it up a little bit.
All that. If not, they make me do it all over again.
Uh-oh.
Okay? So we got a lot of great things going on here. Let's add just a little salt in there. Okay.
What kind of salts are you using, Chef?
I like to use any type of purified rock salt, okay? Whether it's like a kosher salt you get from the store, or like a mineral salt, anything like a Himalayan salt, anything that is like a sea salt, anything that is a purified rock salt is what you want to use. You don't really need to use those salts that have a high iodine in it, because we really don't need that in our diets anymore. And plus the sodium really contributes to heart disease and high blood pressure. And so we want to be mindful of that as well.
Absolutely.
Okay. And plus, blood pressure a little high this time of the year. Everybody's cramped up in the house like that.
Right.
Okay. So you can just see all those flavors coming together. It's really, really nice. I'm just going to add just a little tomato in there now. Okay, just a little bit. And these are just plum tomatoes that's already been like seeded. Okay. Got the nice juice in there. We want to add that flavor in there last minute.
And you could just get like those are just like canned tomatoes.
Absolutely, and that's what this is. It's a canned tomato.
Okay.
Because some people just don't have it to buy a whole thing of tomatoes and keep them fresh and then use them for applications like
Absolutely.
this. Okay. This is what we call survival cooking here, and it's beautiful. And that's what really cooking is all about, survival, because they wasn't cooking food for entertainment. It wasn't until the modern day to where they started to put a value to food. And so then you have to have the artistic point of view in what you're making here. But it's really to survive. You think about if you was in Germany, you're making all of your sauerkraut and everything before the long winters, because you got to survive the long winters, okay?
Absolutely.
So everything's about survival mode, and to be able to serve the masses too, okay? Okay, and last thing I want to do is add just a little baby kale to it. Okay,
Kale's come a long way. I remember when I was growing up, used to see the kale separating the vegetables in the produce aisle, and now it's a viable product that's being used.
My memory of kale is when I had to set up the salad bar when I was a busboy
There
at
you
Ruby
go.
Tuesday. I had to set up the salad
Had
bar.
you at Ruby
At Ruby
Tuesday?
Tuesday, I was a
Uh-oh.
busboy. Can you believe that?
I can't believe it.
All right, we got to start somewhere, huh?
Right.
All right, beautiful. See how everything is really coming together? And that's what you want, okay? If you got to use leftover ingredients, use it in a way where it's eye appeal, okay? We eat with our eyes, okay? We want people to say that you just didn't take anything out the refrigerator and dumped it into a pot and you call it a meal. We put love and steps, and we really put forth fundamentals in something like this, total utilization, okay? All right, so we're getting to a point now where we're almost done. Let's add in some of these vermicelli noodles here, or angel hair pasta, okay? Just a little bit.
Chef, talk to me about the origin of ramen, where it's kind of taken by storm. The States over the last 3 or 4 years, you see these pho and ramen shops popping up.
You know, it's the new street food craze. You know,
Yeah.
that's where what's really nice about being here in America is that we're a melting pot of so many different cultures, and so everyone is bringing their style of cooking to the table, and because of that, has made things like ramen, noodle bowls, all a forefront main street cuisine that people love. And so I love doing that because it's a good introduction to different cultures, you know,
Okay.
and international cuisine. It's just not a big pan of food,
Right.
but it can be nice little fun things. If you think about people in Asia and they're walking up and down the street to grab meals at the little small vendors, okay? So the street food craze is something that we see in America, and that's where you see the ramen noodle thing.
And you can kind of make it your own too, different.
Exactly.
You know, it could go Thai, you can go different parts of Asia, you can do an Indian flair. There's so much that you can do with it.
Exactly. And so you got all those beautiful noodles going on in there. You got a nice broth in there. If you run a little bit low on broth, you can always just add a little bit more. I personally don't like too much of a broth in it, but you know, to each his own. But here you get all that intense flavor going on there, all that color. Everything is so beautiful. You can see there in the camera. See all those vegetables in there, nice and beautiful. Okay. And now we're just going to add in the chicken here. Okay. And this is the chicken that was left over from our sandwich presentation that we did earlier. Okay. If you have fresh chicken to add to this, then you definitely want to follow the same procedure that we did earlier. Searing it first, maybe pounding it out a little bit, getting some flavor on there, whether it's a spice blend, whether it's salt and pepper, maybe add a little fresh herb to it, whether it's basil, whether it's a little rosemary, any type of flavor profile to the chicken. Get it in there right away. Get that nice sear on there. Lock in those flavors. Make sure you're not going to overcook it because you're going to use it again. Okay? And then get a nice even julienne, nice even cut to it so you can distribute that flavor throughout. Each bite of that protein is going to have that rich broth going on in there.
Absolutely.
And then everyone feel like they got the fair amount. All right?
You can do any protein in there as well, right? You
Absolutely.
Can do steak or
That's right.
whatever you have
Shrimp,
left over.
whatever, keep it vegan.
Yeah.
Whatever you want there. This is one of those ideas to where you can just add what you have in the house. Nothing is going to waste. And I love that mentality because a lot of times people think that I'm only supposed to eat something one time. This is survival mode, okay? You need to stretch your dollar, you need to maximize your time, and there's no need for anything to go to waste, okay? And so
Absolutely.
this is a great opportunity here to really maximize that, all right?
It looks great, Chef.
Beautiful. So as we continue these series of presentations and discussions, some of the topics that I would like to continue to talk about with our students or our audience is, you know, how do we engage with other chefs in our community? How do we partner up with someone at a local restaurant and maybe getting a foot into their kitchen to help them out, especially in this new day and age where distancing is important, sanitation is important. Do you agree about that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think this is just a chance to take on some new talent. As far as your knowledge base of what we're getting ourselves into, there's going to be a whole new level of training that we're going to have to embrace coming out of this pandemic. And I think it's just important to keep our ears to the street, to understand how this is going to change in the business. Getting involved with like other chefs are going to have different ways they're going to do things in the restaurant, and just being open to that change. I just think it's an important time for learning right now,
Absolutely.
across the board, from all different people.
Absolutely. And now you're going to see the cream separate from everything else, because now you're going to be looking for, employers are going to be looking for skill-based employers, employees who have the fundamentals, proper food handling. Maybe they have a food handling certificate they got in high school, or they went through the National Restaurant Association, got a serve safe. Those are the things that they're going to be looking for or requiring. Having to understand of proper food handling, sanitation practices, professionalism, all those integrity things that we look for in individuals are going to be a key component to the hiring process as we move forward into this new Corona era that we're in. Well, Chef, thank you so much for allowing me to be here with you. This is your program. This is just my contribution to helping the next generation. And we're here at the Shular Institute, where this is a playground for all professionals, all culinarians to come in, to use our facility, to work alongside me and other great chefs to build their career and to continue to help progress the profession of culinarians in this industry. So,
well, thank you, Chef, for letting us come in and be a part of what you're doing here. You've always been such a pillar and support person for education overall. Anybody in Atlanta, anybody that is doing anything in Atlanta knows about Chef Shular. Anytime I go somewhere, everybody says, "Oh, you know Chef Shular." Everybody knows you. You're a loving and engaging person. We thank you for continuing to be a part of the growth of this hospitality here in Atlanta and all over the nation. Thank you for having us.
well, thank you so much.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, Chef.
All right. Here's your meal.
Oh, thank you.
Let's enjoy
Appreciate
it, okay?
that. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. And we look forward to seeing you all at our next presentation, which will be the live feed. We will send out information about the date and time for that. So please get all your students and fellow educators to be a part of this, to ask questions, to continue to engage, because we're going into a new territory in the food service industry. And so we all want to be prepared for that new landscape. So thank you so much and have a great day.